bunch of quiche today. And I've got a few different kinds that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do like an asparagus bacon quiche. How about a caramelized onion and garlic quiche? Yeah. And a Paneer Saag quiche. When I say that's loose. I'm gonna make several of each because we know me, I'm reincarnated from an Army or Navy destroyer chef, whatever. So I'm gonna start out by chopping up a bunch of asparagus. Yeah, baby. We got a bunch of bacon cooking. I usually cook it on a baking sheet, but I'm trying it in a pan. I really like it crispy. But this is a lot of bacon, so let's see if this works. So I've been caramelizing onions to put in one of the quiches, maybe two of them, different flavors. And a little note on caramelized onions. There's nothing like it for the flavor and for starting an interesting dish or a soup, or in this case a quiche. I want as much flavor out of these onions as humanly possible because they are the filling of the quiche. They're the hero flavor. And I put something like 20, maybe 25 onions in as big a pot as I could fit them, and cooked them for hours yesterday at really low heat until they started to cook down. And as you get to the end where all the real caramelization happens, you have to really keep an eye on these. So you see this, it's bubbling away. I've got it at a medium-low heat, and it's at this stage, every time I turn these, we're gonna see a difference in the color. That's that caramelization happening. And it had to get to this point to caramelize. But you see in here too, this has gone from being water or liquid to being viscous, like onion googe. And that onion googe will burn to the bottom if I leave this thing for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So this last stage where you're actually seeing a lot of this caramelization chemistry going on is when I'm stirring this. I'm setting the kitchen timer for 5 minutes, and I'll do it while I clean the house, and just every few minutes I come and give it a good stir so that this doesn't start to stick to the bottom. It sure would be a shame to have had these cooking for 6 hours yesterday and another 2 hours this morning only to burn it at the end. When you're doing this at this end, you see how this time it's a little bit stickier, a little bit darker. It's sticking to the bottom of the pan a little bit. The bottom of the pan is dry. That's what we want. Yeah, baby. Okay, so we are now to the portion of the program where we are assembling these quiches. And at some point in the future, if I get super nutty, maybe I'll make my own pie crust, but I find the Marie Callender pie crusts or something like it. Safeway's got a version of it. Does just fine. So all quiches, my mother used to make them with ham. It's just basically whatever your filling is, plus 3 eggs and a splash of half and half and some cheese, right? That's it. My brainstorm on this set of quiches was that Paneer Saag I made a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and I made another big old batch of it last week so that I could put it into some quiches. And of course, Navy destroyer chef Roxanne, or reincarnated from such, I don't decide I'm going to do one and say, is this as good as I think it's going to be? I know it's going to be good. How could you have this delicious Paneer Saag, which is spinach, it's flavor. how could you put that in a pie crust, add some egg and cheese to it, and it not be good? So I'm just gonna assume this is as good as I think it's gonna be and make a bunch of it and throw it in the freezer, and we can pull it out for other people. We can bring some to the kids. It's fantastic. So I'm liberating all these pie shells as we speak. And this is the Paneer Saag that I made. Look at that. That's homemade paneer, which is cheese made out of whole milk, and a bunch of spinach and some yogurt, all with a lot of spices. Okay, our next round here is going to be caramelized onion. I tried this a few months ago, and it is unbelievably good. And again, I'm going to fill in all the corners. These are not deep dish, so I'm just going to cover the bottom with a thick layer, but a layer that's shallow enough that it'll still be able to fit 3 eggs in the batter on top of it. Okay, so the last ones we're gonna put together are the asparagus ones, but I've still got just a little bit of this caramelized onions, and to me, to waste that seems like quiche malpractice. So I'm gonna just combine that with the there's not enough of them even to make another quiche, but boy, that'll sure enhance the flavor of the asparagus one. Now I'm gonna do a sprinkling of cooked bacon. I cooked this all up yesterday. So now I'm going to make the batter. And, the batter for each one of these is 3 eggs and about half a cup of half and half. Obviously, with all of these, it'd be more efficient and quicker to make all the batter at once. But I'm going to make the first one just with that recipe so that I can measure how much of that batter goes into a measuring cup. And then it's easy for me to just, measure out that amount into each one of these. So I'm going to take 3 eggs. By the way, Costco started selling pasture-raised eggs. Yay, Costco. So 1 egg. Okay, next comes the cheese. You can use Swiss cheese. That's what a lot of traditional quiches have. I use Gruyere, G-Y-E-R-E. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. And I shred it up. There's only one other ingredient I put on these quiches. It's just the slightest sprinkling of nutmeg, and it's better if you can, scrape it or grind it off of whole nutmeg, but I don't have that, so I'm going to use some already ground nutmeg. It is a little bit compressed, so let's try that. There we go. Doesn't take much. It gives it a nice color, and it just, that nutmeg taste, it's unexpected, and it's really good. I was able to get 8 of these quiches into the oven, but that's gonna slow the cook time. So I set a timer for 30 minutes just to check and see how they're doing, is that I can switch them around a little bit, the bottom rack to the top rack and top rack to the bottom rack.